Hey, you should meet Jake. He's a normal guy who also watches a lot of YouTube videos like you do. And he's pretty sure that he can make content that people will love. So, he decides to start his own YouTube channel. He aims for a YouTube career because he's deeply impressed by the most accomplished YouTubers like Mr. Beast, Mark Rober, and Dude Perfect, and many more. But there's a problem. He doesn't know about their early struggles, and there's one more. He's a perfectionist. Inspired by the master of the fields, he takes his first steps and the trouble begins. What he has managed to make in his first month of making YouTube videos is absurdly beneath the standards that sparked his ambitions. His ambitions were ignited by greatness, but everything he knew of himself was very far from being great. As he wanted everything to go perfectly, now he's stuck in a very uncomfortable situation. He has fallen into what we can term the perfectionism paradox. Hey, it's me, David. And there's a pretty good chance that you might be in a situation like Jake's. And today, I'm gonna talk about this perfectionism paradox. So let's get started. First of all, in Jake's story, it was not primarily his fault. Without in any way revealing it or perhaps being aware of it, our media edits out millions of unremarkable years of failure, rejection, and frustration, even from those who do achieve excellence in the field. So they can serve us a curated selection of peak career moments, which then start to seem like the baseline of the achievement. But actually, those who we admire are a result of great hard work and immense dedication, which our media don't let us see. We always see a blurry picture of the story, and then we start being perfect and start criticizing ourselves for being substandard, even when we are just a beginner in the field. Who's a perfectionist and when you can call yourself one? Actually, he is a person whose standards and goals for his work or himself are higher. But wait, that's not wrong. Setting your goals and standard high is necessary to become better in your field, isn't that? Yeah, that's so true. You have to set your goals higher to ultimately become a better learner. For instance, if you are a graphic designer, you have to constantly improve your designs to finally become better at designing, right? But a perfectionism becomes problem when those goals or standards are high beyond reach or reason. And then we start straining ourselves towards those impossible goals. Like, I would be able to play piano like Billy Joel just after a month of playing piano. That's almost impossible. If this is the case, then I would not consider myself progressing if I could play just some beginner songs in that month. A study revealed that there are actually two types. You might either be an adaptive perfectionist or a maladaptive perfectionist. The adaptive perfectionism is the healthy and useful one. People who fall into this category, they push themselves harder each time and they also derive satisfaction from their intense efforts. And they also tolerate some imperfections. On the other side, if you're constantly criticizing yourself, you feel frustrated about your work or you feel burned out very easily. And there's a good chance that you might be the maladaptive one. This type of perfectionism is the unreasonable ambition of getting something absolutely right, which makes it difficult to stick to your goals and easier to curse yourself. So whenever I'm seeking perfectionism as a problem, I'm talking about the maladaptive one. Perfectionists tend to focus on small details that really don't matter. They take way too longer for a project than it should be. They couldn't let that go. Wait, the purple one should be on top. I bet you didn't notice that, but a perfectionist would, and then he would try to waste his time on these useless details. They try to achieve complete flawlessness in anything that they are doing. But you need mistakes and flaws to make yourself a better learner, don't you? It's the voice from inside that tells them that if they are not able to do anything perfectly, then they are basic or worse, they would not attempt it at all. Simply put, they use perfectionism as an excuse. I'll start the business when timing would be right, or I'll start the YouTube channel when I have that top-notch gear, or I'm comfortable speaking in front of the camera. Even when you start doing things correctly, then the sickness of perfectionism arrives in the huge gap between your noble visions, what you want to become, and your mediocre reality. We have those reckless tendencies to underestimate the difficulties that we would face to reach excellence in any field. And when we don't know what it would take to reach that master level in the field, we start wasting time on things that really don't matter. And then comes the burnout, anxiety, and depression. And then you start losing faith in the field which you just fell in love with. There's no such great hack that I can give you that can solve this perfectionism paradox. You would need to change your perspective. If you recognize something to be exceptionally difficult, you don't panic when your first efforts are weak and you progress slow. It's difficult, but you knew it would be. High standards only become a problem when we think that something would be easier, but it turns out to be very difficult. We cannot forgive ourselves for our early drafts because we haven't seen the early drafts of those we admire. For example, if you want to be a singer, you should not just look into Ed Sheeran's masterpiece or any other great singer, but you should also see the anguish of wrecked early versions. We need to examine more closely how many failures that entrepreneur had to endure, or how many drafts that novelist wrote before he wrote his first successful novel. We should start setting realistic goals. For example, if you're a YouTuber like me, rather than aiming for a video per week, you can aim for 2 good videos per month. Or rather than saying I'll make $1 million in first 6 months of doing business, you can focus more on building your brand. We should start aiming for effort. We cannot control how other people perceive our work or how our competition is, but one thing is that we can control, and that is how much effort we put in, right? And if you are a sickly perfectionist, then you can try to be imperfect on purpose. Wait, I'm not saying to be crap at your work. Be the adaptive one. Those last details that you focus on, they are not of much importance and they are holding you back. If you need to get over those, you should focus more on the quantity rather than focusing on just a single project and making that single project better, because the quantity would give you a lot of feedback and that will eventually make yourself better. So finally, I just want to say that you need to recognize the necessary role of failure, and you should allow yourself to do things quite imperfectly for a long time as a price to be successful. So next time whenever you're having that urge to kill yourself when you can't do something perfectly, just remember David said, "I've nothing to say. I've said everything already." Okay, that was pretty bad. I'm going. But I still need you to subscribe to my channel.